This video is brought to you by WorldSoccerShop.com, offering the world's largest selection of authentic jerseys and apparel for both club and country. Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the limited edition Nike Hypervenom Phantom SE in the Transform colorway. Now, as you guys can see, it does come in a special box, black in color with a clear black graphic on top that matches what you're going to find on the shoes themselves. It's kind of like a crackle oval pattern. Very, very interesting. Does look very cool. Your Hypervenom logo in orange on the top of the box. Open the lid, and on the inside, the box is all bright orange in color, which is kind of cool. As far as extras go, they do include an extra set of black laces to go along with the ones already on the shoes. Closer look at those a little bit later in the video. They include a string bag as well, black in color with black strings. It does have a black on black graphic as well, kind of fading from the bottom. Same pattern you're going to find on the shoes and box. Hypervenom logo and orange Nike swoosh there on the front, and then the back of the bag is left completely blank. Other than that, all you're going to find inside the box are the shoes themselves. So we'll get these guys out of the box really quickly. And just a nice little detail that I discovered underneath the paper here at the very bottom of the box is a cool spider graphic that, again, is actually found on the shoes. So extremely nice packaging, which is to be expected from Nike with any super limited edition release. There were only 560 pairs of this particular shoe made for the entire world. They had a premium retail price of $275 and were very difficult to get a hold of. I've been struggling to get them for a couple of weeks now. Obviously, this shoe has been unveiled for quite some time. Finally got my hands on a pair. You guys have been asking for a video. I really wanted them myself, so here is that video. This is the last colorway of the original Hypervenom Phantom, the Hypervenom Phantom SE Transform. And the reason why they call it Transform is because while the shoe looks to be entirely black right now, when heat is applied to the upper from actually wearing the shoes, it changes color, and you guys will see that effect in just a second. So if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, eBay is your best bet at this point, but expect to pay some pretty high resale prices from people reselling these things. Like I said, they sold out pretty much instantly, only 560 pairs worldwide. But if you guys do want to see detailed images of this particular shoe, both while they're black and while they're transformed, if you will, check out the review page on my website. First link down below in the description. There will be detailed images of the shoes posted on that page. So if you just want to learn more about this particular shoe, please stick around, watch the entire video. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway, because this is by far the most interesting aspect of this limited edition Hypervenom Phantom. Now, as you guys can see right now, the shoe appears to be mostly black. It's under some very bright lights at the moment, so that is heating the shoe up a little bit. That's allowing you to see a little bit more of the orange graphic underneath than you would normally or otherwise be able to see if they were just in an unlit room or something like that. But essentially, when the shoe is cool, the upper is cool, the materials are cool, the shoe almost looks completely black. You can always see a little bit of the orange graphic underneath, but for the most part, they look to be completely blacked out. But when heat is applied to the shoe, mainly from wearing them, you're going to find that a graphic appears on the upper, and the way that that's achieved is through the material that they have covering the upper itself. Normally it would be kind of a waxy Nike skin material, whereas on this particular shoe, it's covered up with more of a plastic material, and you guys will see it a little bit better once I actually heat the shoes up. But that essentially goes from being black to being clear, which reveals the graphic on the underside. To show you guys this effect very quickly in real time, I have a hairdryer right here. I don't really know too much how to use it, but I have it set to warm as opposed to hot, and you guys will see the actual effect come into play very quickly. So I'm going to move this one out of the way so it's unaffected by the heat that I'm about to apply to this shoe right here. I don't necessarily recommend doing this for extended periods of time. You're going to find that it will change color very quickly, but for the sake of the video, this is the easiest way to show it off. So pardon the noise, and you guys will get to see the effect in full force, because it does kick in very quickly. So turn it on. And that's about all you need. Now you guys can see that the graphic itself has completely changed, or the appearance of the shoe has transformed, if you will, and it reveals that graphic on the underside. So you go from being completely black, like you see here, to this right here, which will happen gradually as you wear the shoes. Obviously, I just did it by speeding up the process using a blow dryer, but once the shoe has transformed, it looks very, very cool. So something we've really never seen before. And again, just to touch on the actual material itself, you can see that along the edges here where it is that plastic material, it's turned clear as opposed to black, whereas the pair that is unheated stays completely black. So that's essentially what's happening here. The material that they've used, it feels more plasticky to the touch. Not necessarily the best version of the shoe to actually wear. I would also suspect that as you wear these, the actual material here on the outside would start to kind of crack and kind of show permanent cracks in the actual kind of plastic, because that's essentially what it is. It's a kind of thicker plastic material than what would otherwise be used to cover the actual mesh base layer. But as kind of just a magic trick, if you will, it's a very, very cool effect that has made for a very desirable colorway of the Hypervenom Phantom. It just looks extremely cool. So to go along with the transform effect of the black and orange upper, you're going to find the stock laces that come on the shoes. I showed you guys the extra black ones. These ones are essentially just black with kind of little gold and green accents running through the actual laces. They're not reflective or anything like that, just a sparkly gold green color. ACC branding in black right there. You do have the outline of a Nike swoosh in black with a bit of a sparkle kind of effect to it. You have that on both the front and back of the shoe, your Hypervenom branding, your Nike Skin branding, and then you also have this kind of very cool spider logo where the skull and crossbones would normally be, and that is found on both shoes. Perhaps you can see it a little bit better here when the shoe is black. Not really, but as you guys can tell, it is in fact there. Orange heel liner, you can see that the insole does have the exact same graphic as the rest of the upper as well in orange and black. And then of course the outsole, solid black in color, and this is something I wasn't expecting until I got the shoe in my hands in person. They both have this little sticker right here on the sole plate. It says the chrome finish will flake off with use over time. So it's difficult to tell on camera probably, but the sole plate is extremely shiny. It's supposed to be somewhat of a black chrome finish, and that's just because they've painted it to be very, very shiny. They're saying that the actual shiny effect will start to wear away as you wear the shoes. Not something that's too big of a deal. I don't think that many people who bought these actually plan on wearing them, but nonetheless, it is something worth pointing out because they do warn you about it here with the sticker. And then the tips of the studs are kind of like a translucent orange color, which is kind of cool as well. Everything matches really nicely, and the combination of black and orange overall just looks really, really cool. So let me know your thoughts on this colorway down below in the comment section. What do you think of the transform effect? Is it too over the top, or is it something that you think is just the coolest thing ever? I'm personally a big fan. I have no problem with it, and I think if this is something that Nike could implement on a general release shoe, people would go absolutely insane. So again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and move on next to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance of the Hypervenom Phantom. As far as performance is concerned, I actually really like the original Hypervenom Phantom. Now obviously, since this shoe has been released, Nike has actually released the Hypervenom Phantom 2 and of course Hypervenom Finish models, which the finish I think compares a little bit better to the Phantom as opposed to the new Phantom 2. But with that being said, whenever a new model is released, people are always skeptical of the old model. It automatically becomes obsolete, and that's not really the case here with the Hypervenom Phantom 1 versus the new Hypervenom lineup. Yes, the new Hypervenoms are very good, but they're also a lot different from the original that I have right here. And a lot of people have been asking me over the last couple of weeks, which is my favorite, the original Hypervenom or the new Hypervenoms. And honestly, I think that the new Hypervenom line, both the Phantom and Finish models, do perform better than the first Hypervenom Phantom when it comes to general responsiveness and of course the flexibility of the sole plate. I think that's a really big improvement. With that being said, they've really changed the identity and feel of the original Hypervenom Phantom with the new Hypervenom lineup. I want to apologize for saying Hypervenom so many times, but when you're talking about two shoe lines that have the exact same name, it's kind of unavoidable. So What they did on the new Hypervenoms is they implemented a new version of Nike Skin that is much firmer, and with the flywire reinforcement, just obviously makes for an extremely responsive sensation. In comparison to the original Phantom here, the Nike Skin's construction is a base layer of mesh with a fused on top layer that makes up for the entire upper. This makes for a shoe that's much more flexible, much more sock-like on your foot, much softer, and just kind of more comfortable overall, I guess is this just the most blunt way to put it. With that being said, as great as it is when it comes to touch and general comfort, when it comes to actual performance, changing quick changes of directions and stuff like that, you're not going to get the same type of responsive sensation from the first Phantom that you will get with the new ones. With this shoe, this Nike Skin material will stretch, and it will kind of not provide that same locked-in feel when you are making those quick cuts and putting a lot of stress on the sides of the upper. There is some rollover to the Hypervenom Phantom that you won't get on the new Phantom 2 whatsoever. So if you can live with that, then maybe the first Phantom is worth checking out, because you are going to be able to get them on sale now, given that the new model has since been released. So in terms of what I personally like to wear, I prefer the feel of the first Hypervenom Phantom, but I think that the new Hypervenom line is ultimately the better performing shoe, if that makes any sense. I know it's a little bit complicated, but that is my opinion, and I'm going to stick with that. So you do have the off-centered lacing system, as you guys can see. Of course, the upper is finished off with ACC all conditions control. This particular colorway does kind of screw things up because the finish on the upper is different because of the transform effect and the material they had to implement to have that effect on the shoe. Of course, it does have the low cut as opposed to the mid cut on the new Phantom 2. Internal plastic heel counter, smooth synthetic leather lining material. That does seem a little bit different than what you're going to find on the standard colorways. Not too surprising considering this is a limited edition release. Insole, fully removable, mesh liner on top. Here's just a look at that graphic. That does fade from heel to toe, as you guys can see. And it's just a single layer of this perforated foam material. Nothing too fancy, but it does get the job done. And then moving on to the sole plate and stud pattern. The sole plate is made from a glass nylon material that is a little bit stiffer than what you find on the newer Hypervenom models. Again, a nice improvement, I think, with the newer generation. It does have the split toe design, which I've always said is more of a gimmicky thing, not something that actually does help or is even noticeable with the performance of this shoe. And then of course the Hypervenom stud pattern, that is pretty well proven at this point. It's basically the mercurial stud pattern, but with conical studs as opposed to bladed studs. So what it loses in aggressive bite and traction when pushing off, it makes up for in maneuverability. So it's not quite as aggressive, but you kind of get the best of both worlds in terms of bladed as well as conical studs, just because the shape of the studs themselves, while they're completely round, they're fairly narrow and have a pretty aggressive shape to them overall. So they dig in quite nicely, and you just get good traction overall with this particular stud pattern. So that's pretty much it as far as performance is concerned with the original Hypervenom Phantom. If you're on the market for a brand new pair of shoes and you're considering either the new Hypervenom line or the first Hypervenom Phantom, because you can get them on sale now, it really is up to you. They're both very, very good options. And while this shoe has been replaced, that does not make it obsolete. It's still a great performer and still a great shoe overall, no matter what gets released in the future from Nike. In terms of weight, the original Phantom is actually a little bit lighter than the newer Phantom 2. So we're going to see exactly what they weigh in real time using this scale. Keep in mind this pair is in brand new condition and in a size 9 US. So throw it on the scale and you can see that they weigh in at 7.2 ounces. The equivalent of 205 grams. So it's a very lightweight shoe, and considering how light it is, it's actually quite comfortable. It's a thin synthetic upper that is going to provide more of a barefoot feel on the ball, but because of its mesh base layer, it does have a slightly padded sensation as well. And unlike most thin synthetic soccer shoes that generally can be very stiff, kind of like what you're going to find on the new Phantom 2, the Nike Skin upper on the original Phantom does actually have the ability to stretch. So if they feel a little bit snug from right out of the box, they will give a little bit after some break-in time, allowing you to have a more comfortable fit, but at the same time still maintaining the tighter fit and feel that the Hypervenom line provides in the first place. Alright, so here is a look at the Hypervenom Transforms on feet. On my left foot I have the stock black laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot I have a pair of orange premium dot SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, check out the website www.sr4ulaces.com. You find a direct link to that website down below in the description of this video. Now, in terms of the color changing effect, When I put these on, they were completely cooled down, so totally black. You can see that they're very slowly starting to show the orange. Of course, I'm indoors in a fairly cool environment, and I'm kind of just standing around. But if you were outside on a hot summer's day running around, I would think that after a couple of minutes, you're going to find that color change effect come into play pretty quickly, whereas in an environment like this, it will take a little bit of time for your feet to essentially heat up the upper to expose the orange pattern on the shoe. I didn't want to kind of modify that just so you guys can see exactly how the transition works kind of in real time. I just put these on. It's the first take. I'm not doing any retakes or anything like that. So like I said, I just put them on. They've only been on my feet for about a minute and a half, and this is what they look like so far. As far as how they fit and feel on feet, it is of course the original Hypervenom Phantom, but because of the difference in material on that top layer to give it that color change effect, these do feel a little bit stiffer. Just because it's a thicker, less pliable material overall. Would that change after some wear time? I think it would. So it's not too big of a deal, but of course the finish on the upper is different as well, like I mentioned earlier in the video. So comfortable shoe, the Nike Skin base with of course all that mesh material feels really good against your feet. It's relatively flexible from right out of the box and gets more flexible over time. It even stretches and forms to the shape of your foot. For a tight fitting shoe, it's got some decent width to it. They're going to be suitable for most people, even if you do have slightly wider feet. Again, after you give them some break-in time, because that Nike Skin upper will stretch a pretty significant amount from how they fit from right out of the box. As far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing my usual size 9 US here, and the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So the Hypervenom Phantom 1 does run true to size for those that are wondering. So if you are looking to order a pair, I would strongly recommend going for your normal size in order to achieve the best possible fit. Alright guys, that's it for my review of the limited edition Hypervenom Phantom Transform from Nike. Very cool concept. Definitely something that I hope to see on future releases from Nike. Hopefully even a general release. And it's just one of those really cool shoes. It's a shame that they only made 560 pairs, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that would have loved to got their hands on this particular colorway. Again, as far as getting a pair for yourself, eBay is your best bet at this point, but expect to pay well over the $275 retail price that resellers are trying to sell these things for. So again, if you're trying to get a pair, they're going to be pretty pricey. If you guys do want to see detailed pictures of this particular shoe, again, check out the review page on my website. First link down below in the description of this video. If you have any questions at all regarding this particular shoe, leave them down below in the comment section. I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.